Hey, it's Rich. It's first week in May, and I haven't made a video in I don't know how long, so I figured it was time. No particular reason, except there's been a lot going on, and in other areas of my life, and so I haven't had the free time or the mind share to devote to this project. But things have calmed down a little, and so I'm back. I'm back in it, and we'll try to get a video up every day or two going forward. The most exciting thing I have to report is that I repaired a serious problem with this bike myself, with the help of my esteemed instructor, Armin Amirian, here in New York City, in my motorcycle maintenance class. I signed up for the class, which was 4 lectures and 3 garage days, because I thought that knowing a little more about how the bike works, and not just about the systems, but about how to make basic adjustments myself, would make me a better rider, and would also make me more confident, and would help me take better care of the bike, and look out for the sorts of problems that you want to look out for. And in fact, that has turned out to be the case. It was a great experience. Normally what they do in this class, aside from teaching you, elementary mechanics of how motorcycle works, is they show you how to do things like, chain adjustment and oil change and so forth. And I did some of that on the garage lab days. I took the entire back end off the wheel and the brake and chain, and adjusted it all and cleaned it and put it back on, and that was a good experience. But I didn't get to things like oil change because in week 2 my bike developed a charging problem. It was I would put in a fully charged battery, and after an hour or so of riding, it would be too depleted to start the bike again. And I got a multimeter and tested, and learned that in fact the bike was not charging. The regulator was not sending charge current back to the battery. And I don't know that much about electronics, but I do have common sense. And so when I brought the bike in for the second garage day, I said, look, I have this charging problem. I would like solving that to be my challenge for today. And in fact, I ended up spending the whole second and third garage days on this problem. But I did get it solved in the end. And it turned out that the problem was something that was very easy to see once I got, the bike open and started paying attention to what was in there. And in fact, the reason that my bike wasn't charging, as it turned out, was that there's a 6-pin connector coming out of the regulator, and with 3-phase current coming into the regulator, and then a hot and a ground coming out back to the battery. And of those 5 wires, 3 of them had simply been twisted off. They were physically disconnected. We still have no idea how that happened. My guess is that the cable that runs into that connector was zip tied or physically attached to the speedometer cable, and the speedometer cable moves with the motion of the front end, and so something got yanked. And in general, when I took a look inside the headlight aperture of this bike, I mean, it is just a nest of mess in there. Things are just bundled randomly. The wire colors running in and out of connectors don't match. I wouldn't say that the workmanship is shoddy on this bike, because it's clear that the design was done with an attention to detail and economy and so forth. But it isn't I wouldn't call the design fine workmanship. It is as much a handmade object as it is a mass-produced one, and it shows. You can tell. So, fortunately, my instructor had a full electrical bullet connector set, and we were able to rewire all the connectors, all the connections that were missing. In addition to that, we rerouted some of the wiring. We rerouted the throttle cable, which, you know, again, in an example of the quirkiness of this motorcycle, is so short and tightly routed that any divergence from the expected path and really any additional tension results in killing the throttle attraction, which is a safety hazard. So, you know, we got some advice from the Royal Enfield forum. It wasn't quite adequate to solve the problem, and ended up solving the problem by adding a little bit of tension to the retractor spring, so that when I run the throttle, it pops back a little harder. And I can handle a little more tension in my hand. That's not going to fatigue me. So, problem solved. So I feel very competent. I'd be afraid to take on projects like this on my own, because I don't, you know, when I get stuck, I don't really have anyone to ask. But I'll do some practice projects that are smaller and generally work up my, you know, my confidence. And once I do that, we'll be all set. So again, I feel great about the experience. I know a lot more about the insides of the bike. I have taken the gas tank off and put it on half a dozen times, so I'm no longer afraid of that at all. And I was terrified of that when I started. Let's let these people cross. Generally, you know, it was a good confidence building experience. So, motorcycle class is one thing. What else has happened that's of note here? You can see spring is here. Temperature's been in the 60s and 70s, and that's very nice. One of the things I learned as it got warmer is that this heavy-looking denim armored jacket is actually more comfortable to ride than my thin polyester shell that I took with me to California and was suffering with in the sun. Because the venting on this one actually works and the fabric breathes. So, since I talked to you last, I was out in California for 10 days. 3 days in Los Angeles on either end, more or less, and then 4 days in Palm Springs in the middle. And I'd hoped to rent a bike to ride from LA to Palm Springs. That didn't end up happening because it wasn't practical, but I did have get out of here. I did have a rented motorcycle on both ends in Los Angeles. I had a Harley Davidson Sportster 1200 on the first leg of that, and then on the second leg, I rode my very first Japanese motorcycle, which was a Yamaha Star 650. And that turned out to actually be kind of a nice experience. It felt like a little more power than I needed, certainly like the Harley did, but it was nimble in ways that the Harley wasn't, and you know, a lot of fun to ride. Still, I was really relieved to get home and be back on the Enfield, which is small and goes where you point it, and you know, is easy to lean. It's a very different kind of experience riding this zippy little thing. So it's Monday morning. I'm on my way up to Columbia University for a business meeting. And later this week, I may take a longer ride, which I'll shoot with the camera if I do. I've been looking at the Simba small motorcycle. It's sort of a cross between a scooter and a motorcycle. It's a 100cc bike and is actually a successor to the Honda Cub, which is the biggest selling, most successful motor vehicle in the history of the world, with millions of them on the road over a period of 5 decades or so. I think it was first sold in the late 50s. And SYM, which is a Chinese company, Taiwanese company, has designed a bike that hews closely to the specs of the original Cub. Everybody says it's a joy to ride. It's smaller than this Enfield, obviously, but still has enough power to do 55 miles an hour when you need it to in fourth gear, and to cruise along at 45. And while my bike, this one, was disassembled on the floor of a garage for a week, I was thinking, you know, it'd be nice to have some cheap, zippy alternative bike for when either this one is too big for the need, or when I don't feel like taking this one out, or when this one is not available. So I found a guy just outside New York City, about 40 miles away, who has a 3-year-old Simba for sale. And he's a restorer of mopeds who knows his stuff. So I can expect the thing will be in good condition. And I'm thinking I may go up and buy it. So if I do, you'll certainly be seeing it both from the outside, and you'll be seeing the ride perspective. And I'll keep you posted on that too. For now, that's enough. I'm going to wrap this video up and see you the next time I put the camera on. But I hope you're enjoying the nice weather like I am, and look forward to talking to you again soon.